to the July 27th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting for the City of Malden. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Deerhog, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Foreman,
Present.
Commissioner Paglialunga,
Present.
Commissioner Sofield,
Present.
Commissioner Ong,
Present.
Commissioner Barefoot,
Present.
Commissioner Woolard,
Present.
and our chairman, Mr. Paulson.
Present.
All are accounted for.
Thank you. Before we get started, let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tonight's meeting is being held to consider the following agenda items. We're going to read over and approve the minutes from the May 25th Planning Commission meeting. New business includes rezoning of 227 East Butler Road and a reconfiguration of zoning for Arden Woods. We do also have some other business after that, including adoption of rules of procedure regarding election of officers. If you're here for any item not listed on the agenda I just recited, we would ask that we will not be able to discuss that during our meeting tonight. But you're welcome to come to one of us after the meeting or contact the city staff members during regular business hours. Tonight, the commission will do their best to maintain professionalism and courtesy throughout the meeting. We ask all others here to do the same. We ask everyone here to refrain from talking or creating a disturbance during the meeting. There will be time provided for members of the public to speak during each business item on the agenda that we discussed tonight. And put all your phones on vibrate, please. We're going to go ahead and get started with a review of the minutes from the May 25th meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve those minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ong to approve the minutes. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion regarding the minutes? With no discussion, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. I think maybe we should call a roll call vote since Commissioner Willard's on the line.
Okay.
Can you help me with that? Thank you.
All right, very good. Commissioner Foreman?
Aye.
Commissioner Paglialunga?
Aye.
Commissioner Sofield?
Aye.
Commissioner Ong?
Aye.
Commissioner Barefoot?
Aye.
Commissioner Woolard?
Aye.
And Commissioner Paulson?
Aye.
All right, passes by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the rezoning of 227 East Butler Road. We're going to begin with an introduction of this item from staff. Following staff's introduction, I'll ask if any of the members of the commission need to disclose any conflicts of interest or ex parte communication regarding this item. After this, the applicant will be given an opportunity to comment if they need to. Following the applicant's comments, we'll open the floor to public comments. Members of the public who wish to comment will be granted up to 3 minutes to speak. You'll only be allowed to speak once. We do not permit speakers to concede time to other speakers. If someone has already said something that you had planned to say, we ask that you simply state that you agree with the previous comment instead of saying it again. That'll help us move the meeting forward. We ask that everyone be respectful of each person who speaks and refrain from talking or other disturbances while someone else is up talking. After each person who wishes to speak has had a turn, we'll then close the floor to public comment and we'll provide the applicant with any opportunity to provide any final comments. After this, we'll receive a recommendation from staff. Mr. Deerhog, will you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item is a request to rezone the property at 227 East Butler Road. And there we go. The map on the display shows where this is located at the intersection of East Butler Road and Old Mill Road. This property is about an acre in size. It is currently zoned R12. They have requested to rezone it to C2, which is a general commercial district. And you can see that all the other corners at this intersection of East Butler and Old Mill are currently zoned C2. So they have asked to extend that zoning to their property at this corner. There are no development prospects for this tract. Some of you may be aware that this property has been listed for sale for quite a bit of time. This effort to rezone it is part of their efforts to continue to market the property for sale and for development. And I'll be glad to go through the staff recommendation when we get to that point of this agenda item.
Thank you. I'd like to ask the commissioners, does anyone have any conflict of interest or ex parte communication they'd like to disclose regarding this item? Hearing none. Is the applicant here or a representative of the applicant?
The applicant is here. She plans to just kind of sit back unless we have any specific questions she needs to jump in on.
Okay. So I'd like to open the floor to public comments regarding this item. If you'd like to share a comment, please approach the microphone at the lectern and give us your name and address and share your comment. Would anyone like to comment on this item? Okay, well then I'll close the floor to public comment. Do any members of the commission have any questions for the applicant? Okay. Mr. Deerhog, would you please provide the recommendation of staff?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we've reviewed this application for a few different criteria. First, for consistency with the comprehensive plan. And we did find that the comprehensive plan does support this request for C2 zoning. We looked at the suitability of the site and found that there are not any apparent floodplains, wetlands, or other steep topography on the site, and it appears suitable for development. We looked at the compatibility of the development. This tract is located along a corridor that is more or less an emerging commercial corridor. There's a few businesses already located right there, including CVS Pharmacy, the Expressway gas station and convenience store, Water Tech Water Purification Company, Liquor Express, and the Carolina Auto Repair Shop. All the utilities, including water and sewer, are available on site. And as far as we've reviewed the public need for the prospective development that this zoning could bring, as the population continues to grow in and around the city of Malden, there is an increased need for businesses that will provide commercial products and services for this growing population. This rezoning will help to provide additional commercial development opportunities. So, and in summary, the staff supports the request for this rezoning tonight.
Do any members of the commission have any questions for staff?
Mr. Deerhog, we don't have any final plans or any indication from DOT what that intersection is going to look like moving forward.
No, I have not received any yet. I know they are trying to finalize that, and I anticipate that they'll be holding a public meeting to review their findings, but those have not been presented with that. We do anticipate there will be some right-of-way acquisition at this property, the extent of which, though, we don't know yet.
Thank you.
Additional questions for staff? Hearing none. Do I hear a motion regarding this item?
Make a motion to approve the rezoning.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ong to approve the rezoning. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion to rezone to the C2 district.
Seconded by Commissioner Paglialunga. Any last minute discussion?
Just for clarification, this is a motion to recommend approval to the city council.
Thank you.
My motion is to recommend approval to city council.
Second the recommendation.
Thank you. Hearing no more discussion, I'd like to call for a vote. Mr. Deerhog, could you help with the roll call vote, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Foreman?
Aye.
Commissioner Paglialunga?
Aye.
Commissioner Sofield?
Aye.
Commissioner Ong?
Aye.
Commissioner Barefoot?
Aye.
Commissioner Woolard?
Aye.
And our chairman, Commissioner Paulson.
Aye.
That passes by a vote of 7-0.
Motion is approved. The next item on our agenda is the rezoning of out parcels at Arden Woods. We're going to follow the same procedure as the previous item. Mr. Deerhog, will you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The city received a request for a rezoning and more specifically, this is a reconfiguration of the existing zones at this location, at this property. This is at the out parcels located at the Arden Woods project at the intersection of Ashmore Bridge Road and Fork Shoals Road. The applicants requested that the current RM residential zone and the C2 commercial zone be reconfigured at that intersection. Specifically, they would like to expand the RM zoning on the north side and to change that C2 zoning on the north side of Ashmore Bridge Road to RM. And then to expand the C2 zoning on the south side of Ashmore Bridge Road. You can see here on this map, there's a little where they have requested to expand the C2 zoning. So the C2 zoning will go away on the north side of Ashmore Bridge Road and will be slightly expanded on the south side of Ashmore Bridge Road. And the reason that they have requested this is to better accommodate the marketability of that out parcel for a grocery store or small retail center. This tract was annexed into the city of Malden back on May 20th of 2019. At that time, what you see here, there were approximately 8 acres that were zoned C2 at this intersection, and then the remainder of the property was zoned RM. The preliminary plat for this project or this subdivision was approved by the Planning Commission on November 19th of 2019, and that subdivision was approved for up to 806 homes. This proposed reconfiguration will result in 9.67 acres that will be zone C2. So there's just a net increase of 1.67 acres of C2 zoning at this intersection. And in order to accommodate this expanded footprint of the C2 zoning district, the applicant is actually proposing to decrease the number of lots in the Arden Woods subdivision. So that would decrease from 806 homes down to 715 homes. So that's a decrease of 91 homes. And I'll be glad to go into the staff's report and recommendation at the appropriate time for this agenda item.
Thank you. I'd ask the commission, does anyone have any conflict of interest or ex parte communication regarding this item to disclose?
Chairman Paulson, I do. Due to the nature of my employment with a prospective home builder for the Arden Woods subdivision, I must recuse myself from this discussion.
Thank you. Does the applicant wish to add any comments at this time? So now I'd like to open the floor to public comments regarding this item. As before, if you'd like to make a comment, please approach the microphone. Give us your name and address and your comments. Would anyone like to comment on this item? And that-
Can you stand up to the microphone, please, and state your name and address?
All right, my name is Marilyn DeMarco. I live at 24 Terrain Drive. I don't know, I want to know, I don't know north from south. Um, How does that affect Terrain Drive?
I'll respond to that when we get.
Thank you. So you can provide your comment and then we'll,
All I want to know is, I didn't understand north from south, in relationship to that 20-some U-shaped drive of Greenville.
sure.
Is it closer, is it on our side or is it on the side closer going into Donaldson Center?
We'll be sure to answer your question when public comment is closed. Thank you. Any other comments, questions? In that case, I'm going to close the floor to public comments at this time. Any final comments from the applicant? And I guess that's a good segue into any questions for the applicant by the commission. Okay. Mr. Deerhog, will you please provide the recommendation of staff?
Thank you, sir. And let me go ahead and provide a response to the question that was just asked. So the question was, how will this affect Terrain Drive? And it's hard to see on this map right here. Terrain Drive is right at the bottom in our screen, right by where Miss Woolard's screen is. So in fact, let me move this up so you can see it better. So if you can see where my mouse cursor is moving, it might be hard to see, but this is Terrain Drive down here. Right now, this is Ashmore Bridge Road, right kind of in the middle of the map. And so right now, this part that is C2 is right here in red. And what they are proposing to do is expand that C2 down just a little further. It's not going to touch Terrain Drive, and it's not going to back up to the homes on Terrain Drive, but it will take away some of the land that was going to be built for homes. So there will be less homes there, and instead of homes, you'll still have some homes that will back up to where Terrain Drive is, and those homes are, but there won't be as many because they're going to put part of that into the commercial area where hopefully they can get something like a grocery store or some type of a shopping center. Okay. All right, and so let me go ahead and finish with the staff report. We reviewed this again for the same criteria that I went through in the last agenda item. First of all, looking at consistency with the comprehensive plan, and the comprehensive plan does support this reconfiguration of the RM and C2 zoning tracks. As far as the site and its suitability goes, there are not any apparent floodplains, wetlands, or steep topography on this area that we're talking about where we are reconfiguring this zoning, and it appears suitable for development. As far as the compatibility of the development for this corner, the Fork Shoals Road corridor is currently undergoing increasing residential development. And this increased residential growth is starting to become attractive for commercial interest. So this track was planned since it was annexed to include commercial out parcels at the intersection of Ashmore Bridge Road and Fork Shoals Road. So this reconfiguration and slight expansion of the C2 zoning is certainly supportive of what we're seeing happen and the need
for what's going to be out there on Fork Shoals Road. All the utilities, including water and sewer, will be available on the site. And as far as the public need, again, I just touched on this, but as the population continues to grow in and around the city of Malden, there's an increased need for businesses that will provide commercial products and services for that growing population. This rezoning or reconfiguration will help to provide additional commercial development opportunities in this area, which is certainly one of those that is growing right now. And so in conclusion, the staff supports this reconfiguring the zoning. And again, your motion would be, if you choose to do so, a recommendation to the city council on whether to approve or not to approve.
Thank you. Do any members of the commission have questions for staff?
I have a question, Mr. Deerhog. Could you explain, just so I understand from a procedural standpoint, why the northern parcel wouldn't have to go through an independent rezoning? Like, how does the process work for a reconfiguration versus a independent rezoning? Are they the same parcel number?
They are the same parcel number.
Okay.
And so we are doing both simultaneously. We are rezoning the north side to the RM and expanding the C2 on the south side. And that is all included in the ordinance that was provided for you in your packets and will also be provided to the city council for their consideration. So it's all captured together in that ordinance.
Okay. And then my other question is, I see that they're losing homes, but they're also losing acreage. Does the density of the development change in
It
terms
will,
of the units per acre?
yeah, the density does change. It will decrease.
Okay.
Additional questions for staff?
So on the south side, is that where they're changing it to the C2? Is that a separate parcel ID right now?
No, it will become one, but they're still preparing the site and doing all the preliminary development, installation, grading and installation of infrastructure and all that stuff. So they have not gone through the final plat process where they will create their separate own parcels and parcel ID numbers, but it will. And if this helps, whoops, I've got one more drawing on here. You can kind of, this shows you how it will be parceled off.
I have an additional question on the map. I think you're showing the map I'm looking at that shows the amenity center on the north side and then the commercial parcel shaded in yellow. Is that correct?
Correct.
There's a little triangular shaped piece right at the northeast corner of the C2 parcel. Is that not going to be included, and why?
It is not included. I'm going to turn to the engineer to see if he can provide some clarification on that.
Paul Harrison, 718 Lowndes Hill Road. That is actually where the underground cart tunnel, whatever it is, the old cart path that got golfers from one side of the road to the other. We're keeping that crossing as a pedestrian crossing to get people to and from the amenity center without having to cross the road. So that'll just be open space, actually. We should have done a better job of denoting that on the plan, but that will be open space because that contains our drive to get through that tunnel.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you.
I had that question as well. That connected that went from 9th hole over to the 10th. So at Bonnie Bray, this was my course, so I know that area well. But yeah, it's a really, really nice. It'll be a good amenity for the community out there as well.
Additional questions for staff? If discussion is complete, do I hear a motion regarding this item?
I'll make the motion that we recommend approval for this rezoning request or this reconfiguration request.
I have a motion from Commissioner Foreman to recommend to council that we reconfigure the Arden Woods out parcels. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Commissioner Barefoot. Any last minute discussion?
Does it make sense to put a landscape easement separating those two parcels, considering it's only 0.52 acre on the commercial side?
So what they're depicting is that there will be a landscape buffer between the commercial parcel and the new homes that are going to be built up behind it, as well as along the road, the internal road, I should say. And there will be other landscape requirements that will apply, like landscaping their parking area, putting streetscape landscaping in along Ashmore Bridge and Fork Shoals Road and things like that.
So that triangle is going to be more parking probably?
Are you talking about the triangle that we were just asking about where the
Yes.
underground golf cart goes?
Yeah.
That will just be open space. There won't be parking on it.
Okay.
Any last minute discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to call for a vote on the motion to recommend to council to reconfigure zoning for the Arden Woods out parcels. Mr. Deerhog, will you please help with the roll call vote?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Foreman,
Aye.
Commissioner Pagley-Lunga,
Aye.
Commissioner Ong,
Aye.
Commissioner Barefoot,
Aye.
Commissioner Woolard,
Aye.
and our chairman, Commissioner Paulson.
Aye.
All right, that passes by a vote of 6-0 with Commissioner Sofield recusing himself.
I'm not sure he had to leave the meeting. Has he,
We usually invite them to vacate their seat, but he is welcome to come take his seat back now.
sorry, I didn't see you sitting there. I just saw you walk out. That concludes new business for tonight's meeting. We do have other business, though. We'd like to discuss the adoption of rules and procedures for officers of the Planning Commission. We're going to follow the same basic procedures we did before. Thanks for coming. Mr. Deerhog, will you please introduce this item?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Oops, and I got a typo in the report here, but the current rules of procedure that the Planning Commission operates by were adopted back on July 28th, 2020. Note that correction from the report. And each year, we take the opportunity to review the rules of procedure to see if they are good or if there are any changes that you would like to suggest at this time. So that is the first part of this other business, is to discuss whether the rules of procedure are good as is, or if you want to make any adjustments. And then after you've taken action on the rules of procedure, then it is upon us to elect officers, which we do each year beginning on whatever our first meeting is after July 1st. Of course, Mr. Jonathan Paulson is currently serving as the chairman, with Mr. Michael Foreman as the vice chair. When we get to this point, we will open the floor for nominations for the chair. And after nominations have been made, we'll close the floor and hold a vote. And then we'll do the same thing again for the vice chair. All right, so let's first open the floor, if you will, Mr. Paulson, to discuss the rules of procedure, if there's any changes, or if you'd like to make a motion to approve the rules of procedure as now constituted.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to open the floor to, I guess, public comment regarding this, if there's anyone left. But if not, then commission and discussion amongst the commission regarding any changes they'd like to make to the rules or adoption of the rules as they stand.
If no changes, Mr. Paulson, you might ask if there's a motion.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to adopt the procedure and rules as they stand now?
Mr. Deerhog, would we make a motion at this point, or we just keep
Yes.
continue on with what we have? How does that?
It would be preferable to make a motion so that it's on the record that we
Continue.
approve the rules again for this next year.
All right, then I'll make the motion that we continue the rules as is for the upcoming year.
Thank you. I have a motion from Commissioner Foreman to re-adopt the existing rules for the next year. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion to readopt the rules for the upcoming year.
Thank you. I have a second from Commissioner Woolard. Any last minute discussion? Mr. Deerhog, will you please help me conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Foreman,
Aye.
Commissioner Paglialunga,
Aye.
Commissioner Sofield,
Aye.
Commissioner Ong,
Aye.
Commissioner Barefoot,
Aye.
Commissioner Woolard,
Aye.
and our chairman, Commissioner Paulson.
Aye.
All right, that passes by a vote of 7-0. Now, Mr. Chairman, if you will open the floor up for nominations for the office of chair.
Thank you. Yes, I will open any discussion or motion for nomination for chairman of the Planning Commission.
I nominate Mr. Polson.
Commissioner Ong has nominated me, Mr. Paulson.
I'll second that.
I have a second from Commissioner Foreman. Any more nominations? Mr. Deerhog, will we have to have a vote after that motion?
Yes, let's go ahead then. If you'll close the floor for nominations, then I'll call for the vote.
The floor is closed for nominations.
All right, let me go ahead and do roll call vote again on this. Commissioner Foreman.
Aye.
Commissioner Paglialunga.
Aye.
Commissioner Sofield.
Aye.
Commissioner Ong.
Aye.
Commissioner Barefoot.
Aye.
Commissioner Woolard.
Aye.
And our chairman, Commissioner
do?
Lawson.
Aye.
All right, that passes by a vote of 7-0. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'd like to open the discussion now for nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Mr. Foreman.
Commissioner Ong has nominated Mr. Foreman.
I'll second that nomination.
I have a second for Commissioner Foreman from Commissioner Paglialunga. Hearing no more nominations, I'll close the floor to nominations and we'll have a vote. Would you please help me with the roll call vote?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Foreman.
Aye.
Commissioner Paglialunga.
Aye.
Commissioner Sofield.
Aye.
Commissioner Ong.
Aye.
Commissioner Barefoot. Commissioner Woolard.
Aye.
And our chairman, Commissioner Paulson.
Aye.
All right, that passes by a vote of 7-0. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Chairman, if I will, we are still under other business, and there was one other thing I wanted to, it was a late developing item, wanted to bring to your attention just for a brief discussion tonight, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last week, the City Council met and approved a resolution requesting the Planning Commission to consider amending the zoning ordinance to limit the number of thrift stores that are allowed in the city's commercial districts and to conduct a public hearing. One of their findings in the resolution they passed is that additional thrift stores in the city of Malden may be inconsistent with the objectives of the zoning ordinance to protect the quality and appearance of the properties in commercial zoning districts. I wanted to bring this to your attention to let you know that we will be preparing to hold this public hearing next month during our August meeting. And I have begun to research how other communities treat thrift and consignment stores, and have included a little informational packet for you tonight. Uh, some of that research and what I've found so far. So I invite you to look through that. And in the meantime, I'll continue researching how other communities address this type of development. And hopefully we'll be ready to have a good discussion. And come August, what I will probably do is also prepare a draft ordinance that pulls some of the standards that some of these other communities incorporate, and that will have some sort of document to actually review and discuss next month, and as well hold a public hearing on and get some additional public input. But it's been interesting to go through so far, and certainly there's more research to be done on this. But if you had any questions or wanted to hold any brief discussion on this tonight, certainly welcome that.
Thank you for collecting all this information. Any discussion?
Mr. Deerhog, does the county have any guidance on thrift store regulations?
I need to go back and double check. I cannot remember if they have any specific use standards for them. They may not, and it may just be they've outlined what zoning districts they're allowed in. So I'll go back though and make sure to look at that.
Mr. Deerhog, all these other communities that you have so far as research are all out of state. Are there any communities within South Carolina that have adopted any type of ordinance regarding thrift stores?
Don't know yet and haven't found any yet, but I'll look specifically for that.
Do we have a count of existing thrift stores or secondhand stores in the city?
There's a small handful, but I haven't counted them all up.
Just curious.
We can get that information as well.
Mr. Deerhog, is there any context to how this became an item on the council's agenda?
What I understand is there may be someone looking around at some property, and so was maybe a concern that that property is very close to Miracle Hill, where we've already got a current store, and so it was just something that City Council expressed interest in staff and the Planning Commission taking a look at to see if there's anything that we should do to make sure we're doing what's best for the community and the vision that we have for Malden.
Is the Goodwill store on Woodruff, that's not in the city limits, is it?
No, sir.
Yeah, what about the Habitat? A little closer in.
Where's that one at?
The Restore, it's west of the Goodwill on Woodruff,
I don't believe so.
across from the new Tropical Grill.
Don't think so.
At one point, obviously, we went through this and didn't we come up with a resolution to limit them by a 1 mile radius?
We looked at discounts, small box discount stores like dollar stores and stuff, and did something like that.
Additional discussion? Okay, well, we'll have another opportunity to talk about it in August. That's all the agenda items for tonight and all the other business. I guess I would like to entertain motions to adjourn the meeting.
I will make the motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn from Commissioner Foreman. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
I have a second. I don't know if we need a roll call vote for this. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
I believe it passed.
Take that as a unanimous decision. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.